Get ready, get set, go. It's DigiWatchTCG here with the first deck profile on this channel. This is going to be my yellow-purple hybrid deck in BT7 format. A couple weeks right before we get the BT8, so it is April 9th. It's actually a little past midnight. I'm doing just a quick breakdown on what I feel is the best in terms of my choices. But if you have any suggestions, feel free to comment below and like and subscribe and enjoy, and I hope that this deck will inspire any thoughts anyone might have. So we are starting with the 1 Digimon and 4 Digimons. So choice 1 I'm going to talk about is why 4 and not like some profiles have this split more like a 2-3 split with the Digimons being at 3. I just have found that with Digimon, it's your starter. If you do end up pulling a purple rookie to Digifall on top of, which you'll see later in this build, then the Digimon really gets you up and going, and it definitely is a good card. And this is like late game. I was testing with 2 Chowmon and 1 Digimons, and what I found is I would always, like the majority of matches, end up pulling on this one first. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So leave this here just for a nice deck profile at the end. So next, we're going to go with the obvious choice, 4 Schwartz. So why 4? Why not 3? It really is too good. I mean, in this format, absolutely, I think 4 is, there's really no argument why you shouldn't play 4. A lot of decks right now like to go wide. The only ones that really don't go wide are the Jesmon, Red Hybrid, and Antibody, and you can easily side deck out cards that, side deck cards that are better suited for those matchups. But if you're facing against blue, if you're facing against a mirror match of yellow, yellow does also like to go a little wide sometimes. So I find that 4 is the right number for this. This next choice here is a little controversial. I know that some people have given me, but 2 Blinding Ray. 2 Blinding Ray for this deck I think works with the synergy and some of the other cards I have in here. But another alternative you could play is the Jax Raid. I just think that Jax Raid, even though it's good in security, so it can sometimes hurt you early game. And I don't like pulling like a Jax Raid and have to build up to 10 cards purposely to get its effects off. So I just think Blinding Ray is good in this deck. 1 Reinforcing because we can. But I will say, just as a small caveat to that, Reinforcing I don't think is as good as having it at 4. Absolutely, that's why it was banned. Or sorry, not banned, limited to 1. But I think that playing 1 just makes the deck very inconsistent right now. I think later down the line, when yellow hybrids do end up becoming security based again, like security control based, this will see its time to shine. But right now, it's usually the first one I go to cut, especially if you're facing like a lot of decks that have like memory blockers. 2 Wyverns. So a friend of mine at Locals, he actually plays 2 fly bullets, which I actually side deck, and my personal preference is playing the Wyverns, and the reason for that is because there are times I don't want to see a purple color, I want to see a yellow color, and if it's in my security and I get a TK and the TK hits the field, and let's say Fly Bullet was the last card in there, then I just took my last defense out of the way. You're going to take one out of the way if it was a Wyvern's Breath anyway, but at least with Wyvern's Breath you'd recover one, and then at least you can get rid of something big if you're playing something big in there. This is something I also consider to take out, but it's matchup dependent. Going into the Tamers, I'm actually going to go in kind of like what's the obvious ones and then my choice for picks. So I play 4 TK Karis. I think this is the right number. I actually was playing 3 before. I really don't understand why people were playing 4 when the format began, and it just kind of made more sense as I played more and more, just finding like, oh, okay, well, TK Kari, you can play it from the Rise Greymon effect, you can play it against from your security, but basically it just is a really good form of removal, and even though you may have to suspend it and not be able to swing with one of your hybrids, it does clear a lot of problematic cards off the board. And there are times where I would choose to just hard play a hybrid rather than Digivolve on top of a TK Kari, because I just felt like, oh yeah, no, I absolutely have to get rid of, like, I have to leave them on board. Zoe, because that's the deck. So I'm not really going to explain this. 3 TKs. Now, some people played 4. I think that is too much. I think that it is a good starter. I don't think it's good later down the line. And I also don't like when, if you look at your security and you realize, okay, well, there's a TK there and there's a purple card there. And basically, if the TK gets hit, you know you're going to lose because it's going to get your one and only resource out of the way for them to swing for game. That is kind of how the game is played, but I definitely like 3 rather than 4. I just think 4 is a little bit too bricky. And I think there's many other cards you could play instead. And then my last card, which kind of is the synergy of the deck, honestly, is the purple Kari. So I play 3. I was playing 4. I just couldn't find the room to maintain a 4th one in here. 3 Kari, I think, is the perfect number, though. You see it when you... I will say that Kari either likes you or hates you, regardless of what kind of deck you're playing. Sometimes, if you're playing Blinding Ray and you're playing against someone who has a memory blocker, yes, the Kari is going to help, because guess why? Even though you can't necessarily, you send one to the trash, which you can easily recover in this deck, so that's not really an issue. Kari gets you that extra memory. Now, and if they don't have a memory blocker, and you play Blinding Ray, now you're getting 3 memory for the cost of 1 card from your security stack. And you can go into your level 6s very easily from that line of play. Additionally, and that is like the perks of playing it on your turn, but mainly I play it as a defensive card as well. So when opponent goes and hits into this, there's been times where they figured out their memory to be, alright, gotta swing into the security, gotta do this, I'll be left with 2 memory, I could just Digivolve on top of a Tamer, swing for game. And Kari just says no, and comes out, says, nope, you're at 1. Deal with it. So, I really like Kari. I don't think it's ever really hurt me too hard. Only there was one match, I will say, I faced an opponent and I got unlucky. All 3 Karis ended up being in my security, and I was like, that's great security, but there's nothing for me to get from TK. So that's that. I'm going to go into my rookie lineup. 3 Gazimon. I don't think 4 is the right number. I think you'll get too much in your security. If that's the case, there are times where I've seen just a lot of rookies in my security, and I have to kind of search them out with some of the other cards here. So, personally, I think 3 is fine. I was playing an Electamon. I chose to take it out. But it depends. It's kind of with this card here. So I'm going to show this card right here, which is the Pokemon. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you could play 3 Pokemon, because I feel like 3 Pokemon is the right number. I feel like it gives you a level of consistency with the deck, but and when you don't have a memory block, you can just basically just start gaining a lot of memory. But you can take one of the Pokemons out, put in Electamon if you really felt like you had to. It's up to you. Next part, not going to spend too much time explaining this. It's the core package. It's the 4 Kazimon. We have the 4 Zephyrmon. And we have the 4 Jet Sylphie. So we play our hybrids, and I find the best way of playing this actually now is you kind of don't want to leave these guys on the field for too long unless you can absolutely know you're going to get into a 6. Because if I'm playing a mirror match and they're playing Schwartz, they're going to get rid of it. If they're playing blue, they're going to stun it. If they're playing anything else. So most of the time what I'll try to do is I will Digivolve for 1, or I'll go wide, especially against like something like blue. I'm definitely going to go a little bit wider. I'm going to try to kill the lower cards, maintain the 5s in my hand until I absolutely know for certain that I need them. or that I've gained enough advantage. So that's that. I'm going to just kind of make this a smaller stack right now, but this is basically all the hybrids. For the other 5s, 2 Rise Greymon, I think 2 is a good number. I don't really think there's any problem with any other number here. I was playing 1 for a while, but I did decide to go to 2. 2 Seraphimon. I actually just added this in, so I don't know how yet it's going to perform, but I do like the fact that Seraphimon does give you that extra gain in security, and then can do an additional security check. I think it's a 3 cost. The only problem I have with it, which is why I just changed it recently, and someone made a good point to me that I was, a little, I didn't take under advisement. But the Seraphimon, I was like, why would you play a 10k? There's so many cards that are 11k in the security that it's going to die to. That's not the point. The point is just to do the checks and just like get it out of the way. And for the majority of decks, I mean, if you're playing Jesmon, if you're playing Red Hybrid, maybe you want to consider taking it out, or maybe you want to consider playing something else, or not running into the security all the time with it. But I find that for the majority of matches, it has been fine. I have used this before in the deck. I just took it out and then I put it back in. It's been a lot shifty. For the other 6 I play is 2 Dynasmon. I'm not really going to explain this too much. It recovers 1. It saves you a lot. It works actually really well also with Kari. So late game, if you're with Kari, and I actually had forgotten about this effect so many times, but you can just Digivolve onto that, use the effect. Even if you passes 1, you would just basically recover 1 and then tap your Karis, go make it still your turn and be able to swing or do whatever you need to. Lastly, for my 6s is Kazuchimon. This is your flex spot, honestly. You'll see why I say that, but basically, early game it's good, late game it's good. If you get memory block, that's the problem why I have it at 1. I used to have it at 2. And then lastly, 2 Susanamon. So we used to play 1 when the format began. I just found 2 was just more consistent. I really like playing 2 with this deck. There's so many times that I would find that it was in my security, and then I would like, okay, well, TK can get it, but I'm going to not recover. I like having 2 because now I don't have to worry about that problem. I could just leave it there. They'll swing into it. They'll kill their big guy Digimon if they can, unless it's Jesmon. I mean, this just loses the Jesmon in terms of that. But for the majority of matches, like, it is your closer, it's your win condition, so you definitely have to play it. I'm going to go over the side deck options, and now this is, at the time of recording, this is pre Ulti Cup, and it's pre change in the side deck to 5. So this is based on my 10 card side deck. I haven't really figured out yet what I want to hold on to or what I want to maintain, bringing it down. So I'm just going to show you, and I'm going to kind of break it up into what I might hold on to and what I might get rid of. So 2 War Greymon, I just think this is a really great removal option. 6,000 minus to one of your opponent's cards if they have something. If you're playing a big boy, like you're playing Blitz Greymon, you're playing against something that is really, really big and nothing really here is going to get over it. War Greymon is your answer to that problem. If it's a memory tamer, you can use it. It works with Kari. It does 2 checks if you're lucky. Sometimes can do 3 if you have the Rise Greymon and you have enough sources underneath it. So I feel like it's a good choice. For my other 2 here is the Mechanorimon. So at my locals there is a player who plays Diaboromon, and I just think that this might be the best against that deck. Because of the fight, I might end up taking this out because Diaboromon doesn't have a lot of representation, and I might have to just figure out another way of going about it. But that is usually the case, and it's having like 1,001 blockers on with the opponent if you're playing against that deck, it's good. But for the majority of other decks, other than blue stuns this, so sometimes I'll choose other choices instead of it. It's a good card, I think. But it'd probably be the first thing I change out of this deck once the format comes. For the rest of this is a few options and then 1 more Digimon. 2 Tactical Retreat. I just couldn't find a room for 3, and you'll see why. Tactical Retreat basically can help very, very much, and it helped a lot with the Pokemon, putting Pokemon back into your stack. So I really feel like this is probably the best choice for that. It really helps against the Pokemon, and especially if you do know don't have anything that you think can really give you advantage on the board, puts it right back into security. Also, its option effect where you recover 1, it's a 1-cost security recovery. That's awesome. Lastly, gonna play 2 Fly Bullets for playing against anything that would be I would consider like Megazoo, like just kind of 6 spam, those rogue decks, Beelstar, kind of decks, anything like that. So Fly Bullet kills 6, not really 7s, many 7s in this format, so it's a good choice. Sometimes I'll take out a Schwartz if I feel like they're not playing enough 5s. So definitely one choice. And then my last choice is going to be Lucemon KS mode. So Lucemon KS mode, this is the reason why I choose this one. This is actually for red matchups, and it's because when you're facing against an opponent that is playing Ancient Greymon, and they have the Aldemon that can kind of just block out and kill your options that you may end up having in there, I think Lucemon is a better option, because if you have the Zoe underneath when any of your guys, or if you have the Zephyrmon's effect active, this is a 15,000 card that's going to kill your opponent's card. So that's why I keep them. Plus, when you play them and you're over 10, it's a 7 cost to delete a Tamer or delete a Digimon that's a level 6. So it's again another form of removal for like a Megazoo matchup. In terms of what I'm going to change, I'm probably going to take out the Mechanorimons. I might bring down the count for possibly Tactical Retreats, I'm not sure yet, and 1 Wargreymon. So it might look more like 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 as a check. I'm not sure yet. This is the other cards. I don't know, maybe the Tactical Retreat. Not sure. I mean, I think that we're not going to be using sideboards as often as we think after this change in the rule set. But that was my deck profile. I hope it helps. Like and subscribe for the channel. More videos to come with more decks, and I hope this helps you evolve. Take care.